Does that work? Does that work if you have two positions? Two positions.
Okay, there are two positions.
You're not voting for a position, you're voting for a person.
Well, you're casting as many votes as there are positions.
Right, but you just said that under that I'm asking if under that circumstance where somebody gets a majority.
They get 6 votes. Let's just say we have 10 board members.
But which positions, I guess it don't make any difference. If you have two and one, you say one of them is filled and we got one more.
Yeah.
But it might make a difference if one of them is for a 2-year term and one of them is for, if a term yet to be served is different.
One's like the balance of 1 year and one's a 2.
Yeah.
And I would think they'd be labeled that way when you vote on them. That this is for the 2-year term and this is for the 1-year term. Specify it before you start. And the person with the higher vote gets the,
Okay.
specify it that way.
You could work it that way. You could work it that way.
Okay, so the added sentence would read, however,
Or as soon as a candidate has received the required votes, the position shall be deemed filled.
as any candidate,
Has received the required votes, comma, the position shall be deemed filled. I think that's a good catch. Kind of meant that when
how about
I worked on that.
that candidate shall assume one of the open positions?
That's fine.
There may be only one.
And open position. However, as soon as any candidate has received the required votes, that candidate shall assume an open position.
That's fine.
Or positions.
Do we want to just put some words in, like he specified? It's not just any one. They can't decide which one they want.
A specified position.
Well, the
I'm
candidate,
just saying, what if there's a 2-year and a 1-year?
okay, well, the positions are filled in order of
Well, I think we can specify that, yeah, but I mean, that's what I guess I came back with the word specified.
positions are filled in order of their length. The longest
I don't know that you
running
need, I
position.
don't know that you need that in here, I think we can decide that and announce it there.
Seems to me, wouldn't you say you've got position 1 and position 2, and you'd have a ballot for position 1?
Sure, we do that.
You would just be balloting about
Right.
who's going to get position 1.
But that's fundamentally different than this. And that's throwing this whole resolution away and starting over.
Yes.
So how would your scenario play out under a multiple opening scenario? We get 10, let's say we got 10 directors, everybody's present, we got 2 board openings, and we got
One's for 1 year and one's for 2.
ones, yeah, and they're for different lengths, of course.
I'll give you an example. I got it all written down.
Okay, go.
For 2 openings, 5 resumes.
Yep.
8 board members show up. They're at the meeting, 8. Doesn't really matter, as long as it's 6.
Right.
On the first vote, A gets 5, B gets 5, C gets 2, D gets 2, and E gets 2. That adds up.
No majority.
That adds up to 16 or 8 board members. The 3 that got 2 are out. That left A and B with 5 each, okay? Now you have a second vote.
Right?
The second vote, A gets 7, B gets 5, 4 abstain. Because they didn't like B for some reason. Only A is elected. You're done. You re-solicit,
Or not.
or not, but you're done for the night. Here's another one.
So you're not voting on positions, and the first guy who gets the majority.
Well, these are 2 people.
Gets this.
These were 2 openings, and I assumed they were for the same term.
They're not, because we're making it a more difficult scenario than what you.
You're making it more difficult.
Yeah.
I think it still works. I think.
It'll work,
I
because
think
you've gotta be willing to accept the fact that the guy gets voted in and he selects whichever of the two he wants.
No, that's not what I think should happen.
No.
I think this whole thing plays out fine. I think when we start though, we specify which the two positions are. One's a 2-year, one's a 1-year.
Right.
And then you vote for however you want them to be.
But that's not the way your
That's
thing
very
works.
hard to tally down.
That's not the way your thing works, is it, Wayne?
This is important.
I'm not
This is like an
arguing that.
election procedure.
I'm
It's
not
gotta be.
arguing that, but we gotta understand what we're doing, what we're approving.
Not all candidates may want to post for a 2-year position. Some may only want the remainder of a term, a 1-year
They
term.
could indicate that. I mean, they could come forth with that if that's what they
Well,
want. Then they wouldn't be
That's
included
true,
in that
but,
vote.
you know, but in order to accommodate that, you have to have separate balloting.
Yeah, see,
You
Wayne's
can't just
scenario,
put them
I
all
think,
together.
Wayne's scenario says that we don't vote for position. We have 2 positions, 5 people, we throw it in a hopper and we vote.
So everybody gets 2 votes?
If everybody gets 2 votes, I don't know what happens then.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's two
when
votes.
he ended up 8 people to 16 votes, you have to have 2 votes.
You
You
vote.
have 2 that you may use, you don't have to use.
Okay,
Would you have-
The wrinkle here is positions of different length.
Yeah, I hadn't thought-
Therefore,
hadn't thought
different
about
nature.
that.
Right.
Yeah, we hadn't thought about that, you're
I hadn't
right.
thought of that. Well, I recommend we proceed with this because we don't have that issue today, and we take it offline and redo this to deal with that issue later on.
This, as it stands right now, would certainly deal with the position we're facing in the immediate future, yes.
Why would we have in lieu of using the previous method that we
We didn't have a previous standard.
Well, we had a previous method we used, it just wasn't the method that was designed
It
for
was
this
very
case. It was
loosey-goosey.
designed for annual.
It was even like, you know, I think we had 2 open positions, and should we rank order the people? I mean, we didn't know what we were doing.
We should always know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have any formal way of handling multiple candidates.
I think to get over tonight's hurdle, we've got to have it for next time. We vote on this one, and
Then we
in
fix
the
it.
interim, play with it a little bit more to tweak it for the multiple scenarios that we've just thought up tonight.
Yeah.
I would be glad, assuming we proceed, I would be glad to try to put together a process flow diagram to show the logic of how this works, because we've done that in some other things, and it sometimes makes it easier to see. Dave, you're laughing, you don't.
No, I like an engineering approach, I'm all for it.
We need a flow chart.
Huh?
We
So,
need a flow chart.
Yes.
so do we still need this added sentence?
I think we do.
Yeah, I think we do.
So we are adding the following sentence after B.
Well, we could get away with it this time without it.
We are adding the following sentence after DI. However, as soon as any candidate has received the required votes, that candidate shall assume an open position. I move we adopt this resolution as modified. Any discussion? All in favor? John's against it still because of the postcard.
Because of this.
Opposed? Okay.
Two.
There were 2 opposed?
Yes.
What was your proposal?
I'm opposed.
And what was the main reason? Not that it's been voted on.
I don't think it's clean.
Okay.
Robin had given me some inputs there today, and haven't had a chance to get into them.
Again, I don't quarrel with the policy that we've adopted, I just would quarrel with the mailing. I think it's unnecessary.
Wayne, you sign mine and send it around?
That's a,
Rob,
Dave, do you want to take the action to, again, relook at this with help from your friends?
Yeah. Right. So we're passing this tonight,
We're passing this tonight.
and then, Rob, your inputs you gave me, we can use in the next version, which is kind of, oh, yeah, that it's gonna be a little more complicated.
Okay.
What was that?